And we are live back this time for another exciting episode of Star Wars Skeleton Crew, which has been fun for the whole family. I'm enjoying it. I hope you are too. Let's get to the intro. All right, guys, Brent here back with Geek Variants. Cover all things Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, anime, gaming, Star Wars, and more. This time, the Skeleton Crew. We're on episode 3, and I gotta say, it's been pretty satisfactory ride thus far. Sure, the plot's not going to overwhelm you with its complexity, and it's not going to make you absolutely confounded by what brilliant writing is being put out there, but it's fun, it's enjoyable, and it's something that Star Wars desperately needs right now. A win. Because let's be perfectly blunt here. Star Wars has probably had its worst year it's ever had, period, under either Lucas or Disney. It's just been flat out bad. There's no real positive to like put on the board other than this. This is our one thing we could go out there and say, we've done it. We got something. It was a satisfactory show. Most people were happy, and it's relatively drama free in the Star Wars community for the first time. And I gotta say, basically all year. So it's definitely something that we can put our hats on and hang them proudly and just assert ourselves as the fans that we are. It really just touches upon exactly what you wanted to. This is a show that brings out the inner child in you. It makes you remember where you were when you first fell in love with this IP. When the old movies was the 80s, or it was like one of the newer kids where you were watching it in the late 90s, or even some of these newer fans who 2012, 2013, 2014, when The Force Awakens dropped. This show brings out a lot of the stuff that you as a child really thoroughly enjoyed pertaining to Star Wars. And it really puts you just in a nice little driver's seat to being able to enjoy the adventures that happen with Wim, with Neil, with Fern, with KB, or SM33, whose anagram I entirely missed. His name spells out Smee. Smee from Captain Hook, his first mate, the little guy in the little red short hat. Yeah, Smee. Right in front of my face. He's a pirate. He's the second in command. How I miss this blatantly obvious Easter egg is absolutely confounding to me. I have literally no rhyme, reason, or rhetoric as to how I could even have missed that. And you guys come to me for content. That's absolutely crazy. But again, I appreciate each and one of you who has been part of our journey. We're so close to being potentially monetized thanks to you, the viewer. So, hey, I want to say a huge thank you to that. Tons of great memories have been made throughout this channel because of you, the viewer. And we're just looking forward to getting even more started along those lines for you, the viewer. And I gotta say, with Skeleton Crew, it's going to be an absolute ride, an absolute blast. Tonight's episode is probably going to be the one that has the most drama in it. This episode is supposed to, and again, it's a report that ultimately one of the kids' moms, whether it be Wim, Neil, Fern, or KB, I'm going to go on a limb and say KB is likely that there is a same-sex relationship on screen. So of course, people will be like, this is shoving it down our throats. This is absolutely unnecessary. This is the worst thing that's ever happened in the history of. Hey, everyone, calm down. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. Star Wars is not going to double down on this in the worst way possible, where they had a whole retcon of an entire religion and race of people like they did last time. What they're going to do is just have two happy parents in a relationship, and that's all it's going to be. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be a fun ride. It's for the kids. And hey, I'm just going to go out here on a limb and say most people, likely growing up, you probably had plenty of friends who had plenty of relationships, much the same. They turned out to be pretty great people. And these characters have been fun for everyone to, get to know, get to enjoy. Right now, I'd say KB is probably my favorite character as far as the new introductions, other than Smee. And Smee was fantastic because, hey, SM33 was a robot who took absolutely no hits. He talked his talk, and he was willing to walk that walk when the time came. Unfortunately, he got taser directly in the back, and he looks like he's going to be out of commission for a little while here. And KB looks fun because she's able to pick up a lot of the stuff involving the ship, a lot of the handiwork, and a lot of that stuff. Plus, the fact that she has those really cool goggles, that's one of a kind. It's a good look. I think a lot of people seem to enjoy things for a lot of different reasons. And I think ultimately, KB is going to be the standout character that we're hoping she is throughout this series. The episode has yet to drop, but I'm very excited to see when it does, in fact, drop. I think it's going to be a fantastic entry in the series thus far. So we'll see what we have coming up here to date. Episode just dropped, titled Very Interesting as an Astrogation Problem. So definitely we're going to be working on our navigation of these new planets as we're kind of introducing more lore into the Star Wars universe as it's pertaining largely to new stuff that is going on throughout the world going around the Mandalorian timeline. It's gonna be very interesting to see. So let's get started and enjoy this bad boy together. All right, see what we've got. Not need the recap. Basically, Wim was causing panic all of last two episodes. Neil was questioning it. Fern made the best of it, and then there were a bunch of space pirates. And the fact that anyone thinks that Silvo is ultimately not Jude Law's character, I still think it's a little crazy. But hey, we'll see what we got moving forward. I think it's going to be an exciting time. It's going to be a good show for all of us to kick back and relax to. All right, let's jump right into it. We are at content begins around the minute 40 mark. We're picked up back on the home planet where Wim's dad is likely out seeking help on their apparently legendary planet, which looks pretty ordinary to me. Nothing too crazy, I would have to say. Or is this a flashback? 'Cause I don't. No, this is his dad. He's just having a full-on moment where he's like, "Yep, my son is gone. Wife unfortunately passed, so it's I'm hanging out with everyone else's parents." That's Fern's mom. There's KB's mom's. There's the moment that everyone's very worried about. And then we have Neil's mom, dad. Can't really tell. Not really sure how that whole alien race potentially works. Safety droid in the house. What do we got here? Yeah, it's illegally exited the barrier. It's kind of a problem. So we're leaving the kids out in space or anything else. I feel like Wim's dad ultimately knew that this is what's gonna happen, that it was just gonna be a complete stonewall operation. He wasn't gonna be able to get any traction in what's going on here. So we'll see what Wim's dad is ultimately able to do, but they're not gonna go after the kids. That's crazy. And now we pick back up on a space planet where everybody was in fact in jail. Okay. Very friendly prison. Someone is there's two people being tased in the background. Really, KB? You're gonna be the person that's not like sure what's going on here? Mm, it has to be a magnet. That's a rational question. I mean, he's also got a good counterpoint. S- mm. So Silvo is basically being very interesting what's going on. I don't trust that name entirely. Good for you, good law, but or Jod. Mm. definitely going to be interesting to see how these aliens ultimately commence getting through everything. Okay, if we're basically yelling, that's not really going to, be good for the sneaking out. We need to be quiet. What's going on? So it's basically girls versus guys now on who we're going to trust ultimately. And honestly, I'm kind of on the girl side for what's going on because, yeah, Jod just straight up beat up that droid who was serving food. KB was able to detect something that he wasn't because it was a droid. Very interesting to be. You're gonna have a lot of fun with that. Yeah. Do I necessarily trust that? Not really. Is that going to be something that prominent moving forward? Yeah. But again, children's show, the writing's not again going to be very, very complex. But again, these are like only four kids wandering through our planet. That guy just took a sucker punch right to the face, and they look very, very much out of place. So the fact people aren't noticing what's going on, a little wild. Neil, stop having a moment, please. Stay with the group. There's three Jawas just hanging out over there, but they have managed to get to the place going on. Our ship is in a terrible place. Technically, shouldn't play. Prison. Oh no, that's pretty bad. If it's yeah, that's a beautiful ship right there. Well, it's one of a kind. Star Wars really does love to use the old friend line. Where is SM-33? Okay. They're gonna really do the whole guilt tripping right on him? At least try and make that work? I mean, interesting. Will it work? Probably not. Wow, it did. Okay. But again, it's SM-33, so if there's any character that I'm excited to get back in screen, it would be him. One of them is gonna accidentally touch a button. Yep. Silvo has escaped. Of course, Silvo is the one that has escaped. So there we go. That was confirmed nice and early. Got that mystery completely out of the way. All right. He's got an eye hole. That's not him. Nope. And he's off. It's a weird place to keep droids. We're gonna really power up one of the battle droids. Oh no, his neck fell off. You definitely gonna need that. Sorry, B1 battle droid. You definitely did not also win. Not there he is. Hello. Okay, so he click on off. It'd be easier moving him if you like basically, you know, let him walk up his own power and his own accord. There is who is that? Wow, really? Hmm. They seem like they're really good friends, but at the same time, I'm very confused about the status of just their relationship. He's probably gonna have to shoot his old friend. That's unfortunate. That's not what I'm why are you even having this conversation with him? If he happens to be good to go. Yeah, he's oh, Tib, you swindler. Well played. Well played. Because he probably has magnets that have been able to push and pull items. I can't imagine he's definitely going to be. Oh, hey, look, Sybil's escape plan is going absolutely terribly. And because they're so busy arguing, they're missing the entirety of what's going on here. There you go, Neil. Okay, he needs to learn how to fly that thing. That's not gonna work. And time to fly out of here. Yeah, you may wanna you forgot to do that. This was a this was an actual pirate captain that existed. I'm starting to understand why the mutiny took place, and that's not exactly the thought process you want to have going into this. He needs to believe that he's larger than life. Everything is ultimately the right move. Because the fact that everyone else hasn't gotten him right now is, you know, not definitely ideal. All right, yeah, Brutus is probably going to get him now. Oh, that cannon's not friendly in any terms at all. Can't you just unsnag it manually from your ship? It looks like you're just basically yanking all the ship further and further, which is not as long as it creates something that blocks the cannon, is brilliant. Otherwise, it's just foolish and a waste of everyone's time, which is not what you want to have happen. Okay. What is very dangerous to put hyperspace like that to anything. But again, this was your only option. Oh, yeah, you may have killed 6 or 7 people. Yeah, because that cord snapped back with as much force, so that's crazy. I don't even know what that means, like Don't even know where to start with that comment. Don't even know. Brutus is definitely a character that seems to be growing on a lot of people. I'm still indifferent. Could not care one way or the other. Silvo is very interesting. I'm just gonna grab a bite to eat in front of everybody. Terrible name for a planet. Mm, yeah, you literally just ate. Why is your stomach growling? How long were you in jail is the real question. Hmm. So he makes food for himself and nobody at any moment. That's an embarrassing comment. Rethink it. Silvo. What are you really truly up to? I know you want the gold, but you really know of a good way of making it. Genuinely not sure. But apparently a makeover is just the thing he needs right now. Hmm. He's gonna take that. That looks like a pretty good weapon right there. Yeah. That's gonna play a significant part later on. But it looks like me doesn't trust him. Yeah, their relationship's not gonna be positive, I can already tell. He just tries to size him up. "Oh, you're a little bit taller than I am, just by a little bit." They'll get along great. Hmm. Yes, me and Silva will not be friends anytime soon. Relationship's more than a little complicated. Can't really sneak up on him, Smee, not do anything. Just wanted to get the other mysterious eye in there for what purpose, I don't know. It's feeding the rat that lived inside Smee's eyeball. Alright, I guess that's what we're doing now. Hmm. I mean, it's a very fair question at this moment in time. What in the world are we data analyzing? What are we doing? Are we figuring out where everything is? Yeah, even the guys who are like Team Jedi are still not trusting what's going on. Not even tired and immediately KO'd. How far are they necessarily traveling, though? Who is his reported expert? What's the best plan we're going to have here? Okay, so Neil snores like an elephant drunk. Got it. And then you can't tell if KB is awake or sleeping. And of course, she smarts off Silva, which not necessarily the best idea. Hmm. A weird game of wits that an adult is probably going to lose to a child. Yeah, it's not the Force. He has some kind of piece of equipment on him that's making the best move out of the situation that he possibly can. Interesting looking planet. Looks like mostly habitated by droids. So let's see what kind of life we actually have on this kind of a looks like a moon of a planet. Everyone's hanging out on the cargo lift and playing around like it's no big deal. I mean, he's kind of got a very valid point as far as travel and as far as things are going, but again, it's gonna be the best thing possible. Yeah, things are gonna be dicey, of course, because probably forgot to pay him about something's going on here. So that's gonna be walking a bunch of kids into an ambush, which not really the best move you can possibly have. Kind of. If they get to be old. Because if they get stabbed in the back, that's very short, sweet, and to the point. But she looks like she has a very fancy autonomy tower. Astronomy tower, not autonomy. Astronomy. There we go. Okay, so two women are in cahoots. They're going to betray Silvo immediately. Hmm, yeah. Why in the world would he bring? Yeah, even the whole dear old friend technique not working. Silvo's definitely in over his head here. This is not going to be a winnable situation for him. He seems to just be fumbling and bumbling and stumbling his way to a some level of success, but not ultimately the best one there can be. She has been hoarding like you would not believe. Growing collection of what? Wow. She's basically the Star Wars collector. Ah, she's an owl. So that's very mm, everyone's having a moment now. Astrogation problem is because of the barrier, right? So no one can find it. Mm. Why in the world would we protect all these worlds? Really interesting that we're trying to cover the story. Actually looks at Silvo. Stories for fools. How do you figure that out so quickly? Kim is a very interesting character, and she's pretending to continue on with this propaganda while the real enforcers come for the arrest of Silva. There we go. Yep, completely encapsulated. No idea about the war there. Why would they go about this? Good job, Neil. So we're definitely narrowing down exponentially here. Yep. Yeah, we're narrowing it down to 10,000 words. We still have so much more to go. This symbol will definitely be helpful. It's so interesting, like how she walks and moves around. It's definitely one of the cooler creations I've seen via Star Wars. She found it, he knows it, and they're still not really on the same page. No, they probably shouldn't trust each other, and we definitely shouldn't go after Kim because she's very cool and very interesting. Wow. I actually went for taking a shot at her. That relationship is oh, that was very rude. Now he's got what he needs. And now he's ruined the chances of anyone finding the place again. Like, your only option is to go with him because he is gonna take your ship one way or the other. Something like that. Mm, very nice of Kim to go that extra mile for everybody. It's basically now you have to sprint from there all the way to your ship and hope nothing happens, which because it's a crevassed world or moon. Is that gonna work? You know, we're really going to try and bully an adult. Oh, Smee is so ready for this. The X-Wings took their sweet time coming around considering they missed that. And we're gonna make some pacer. No, yeah, he's not a Jedi. Shocking turn of events. I mean, you can really work on the fine terms and fine points. Oh wow, he was going to melt this man. So Crimson Jack is definitely in a bad situation. Why would you take apart the ship when you know we need to get out of here? That is the absolute worst time to do any maintenance or repairs on anything. So he's got a history with droids, considering the way he's gone about it. We're not really getting a shot of anyone in the ship. Oops. Okay, we're gonna use this group of 10-year-olds. Make this work. Like KB's already figured out the other plan. And now we're having a child continue to go after the Republic. Wim, of course, is excited at the possibility of ending human life because Wim is, well, Wim. But hey, you're facing the wrong way. Like, maybe stop gazing and Yui there and stop doing like a 360 while you're. Okay, Fern is also excited at the thought of ending human life. But hey, this is a kids' show. Everyone's having a great time, I guess. Yeah, those don't look like they're playing around a lot. Like, uh, and Neil eventually gets kicked off the wheel because why not? So let's make some moves here. As we need to do the hyperspace jump like yesterday. Yeah, because you can't shoot if you can't see, and vice versa. And now you need to get out of here. Well, the plan worked beautifully, I guess. But at the same time, I wouldn't really call that a huge win for everybody. Hmm. So it's like she's trying to keep this a secret as well. We're going to continue to pan out as that ends the episode. Again, the show's writing isn't what you would call brilliant. I would count it over the top. I wouldn't even count it as necessarily anything that's amazing, but it is very enjoyable in the fact that you just get to be a kid for a little bit longer. You don't want to look at everything through this adult lens of everything needs to be, like Creature Commandos, everything needs to be like Invincible, everything needs to be this mature adult ish content. Every once in a while, when you're a content channel and you cover Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, anime, gaming, Star Wars, all that good stuff, you tend to get most of the adult shows because that's usually the target audience they're trying to get. That's the people who have the money. But what Disney and Star Wars has needed to do for a while is kind of revert back and get into that nice niche kids audience. Because if you make fans at a very, very young age, the parents who have the money spend the money on the kids. And then the kids grow up, they become adults, and then the process repeats. And next thing you know, you go from, a kind of struggling franchise to a franchise that is growing further and further along. Will it go to the heights that George Lucas ever could have taken it? Likely not. But at the same token in time, we're still getting Star Wars content, and that's something that I can always be a fan of. This episode was good in a lot of regards. Silvo finally got outed for being the person that he is, kind of he's just a very, very bad individual. It wasn't someone who was going to progress the story a lot further, but the fact that we have everyone kind of taking a step by step look at how we're basically tracking our route back to At-Atten is going to be very interesting. It's going to be fascinating to see how Brutus is able to get his group together to go ahead and go after Crimson Jack. And I'm sure he might find a way to use the reports from the New Republic in order to track them down. Or ultimately, we're going to have Kim go out and kind of give some new information to kind of change the perspective on everything and how that is going overall. But again, enjoyable episode. A lot of action throughout this episode. The plot was kind of minimal throughout. We just kind of figured out that everyone is basically no longer on Team Silvo. But again, we kind of knew that based upon episode 1. He's not really a good leader. He wasn't really a good captain. The fact that someone put him in charge of a crew and a ship and all this beforehand, but now he's struggling to gain the trust of 10-year-olds. I'm not going to say the 10-year-olds are a better judge of character, but at the same time, is this really what you want it to be? It's not the best thing for him, but again, this series, I think, is what's best for Star Wars currently, right now. Hey, be sure to hit that lovely red subscribe button. That'd be the best thing for you, the viewer, if you love that style of content. Greatly helps us out as we are so close to being potentially monetized, thanks to you, the viewer. Looking forward to making some more amazing content for you all. This Thursday night, we will have more Creature Commandos, as well as Friday night I will have War of the Rohirrim out here on the channel, my review for it. Very interested to see what that movie entails, and it's going to hopefully be a blast. I'm Brent for Geek Variants. I'll see you in the next one.